On July 28th, 2024, there was a large party at Maplewood Park where hundreds of people were cooking out, enjoying the summer weather. At about 6:30 in the evening, gunfire erupted and people began to run for their lives. When the gunshots ended, a total of 7 people were shot. Taisha Manning and Felicia Council were killed. In total, there were between 40 to 50 gunshots that were fired from at least 9 different handguns that afternoon. Up to today, investigators have combed through hundreds of hours of video and have spoken to dozens of people that were at the park that afternoon. The community has been helpful in assisting investigators with their attempts to reconstruct the events that occurred on the 28th up to this point in time. Today, we're again asking for the public's help in continuance of our work. 20-year-old Niger Johnson is currently wanted for reckless endangerment in the first degree and criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree for being in the park on July 28th, armed with a handgun and shooting that handgun. To be clear, we are not alleging that any of the gunshots fired by Johnson struck any of the victims. Anybody with information on the whereabouts of Mr. Johnson, and Captain Bello will be releasing the flyer with the picture, are asked to call 428-9910 or call Crime Stoppers. Any information that leads to the arrest of Mr. Johnson, you may be eligible for a cash reward. More importantly, it's the right thing to do, and we need to get Mr. Johnson, put him in cuffs, and put him in jail. So with that, we will take a few questions relating to this. Yes, in total, like I had mentioned, there was 9 different guns that were fired. We've identified at least 16 people that were in the park that afternoon that were in fact armed with what appear to be handguns based upon video and photographs. Mr. Johnson, we believe has been ducking us up to this point. And we just need people that know Mr. Johnson, that know where he is. We need them to call us so we can get him where he belongs.
You're saying that you're not alleging that Johnson struck or they were struck at the event, but I mean, 16 people with guns, 9 different guns, 40, 50 rounds. How do you determine who ended up shooting them?
It's very challenging. We have to be able to prove that this gun struck this victim, and we have to be able to prove who had that gun in their possession at that time and was firing it. So when you're talking about this many guns, this many gunshots fired, it's obviously very challenging. But, we're determined to do everything that we can to, number one, hold everybody responsible, but especially the individual or individuals that killed Felicia and Taisha. Yes, we had, I believe it was 6 9mm, 2 .45 calibers, and 1 .40 caliber.
Right, with the investigation, all the challenges with so many different moving parts, obviously, what are, been asking for the public's help, obviously, we heard from the mayor last week, and the shocker was a ton of people that know who are, what, speaking directly to, people who know something, how else can the general public assist?
It is tough, and people have been great. We have spoken to dozens of people, many of which have come to us on their own fruition. In order to bring charges, it's not easy. It's very complicated. And giving us information to help us put the puzzle pieces together is great. At the end of the day, we do need, or we may need people to get up on the stand and to actually testify as to what they saw. That sometimes proves a little more challenging, but quite frankly, it's been a little bit easier lately. So general information is great, and no information is insignificant as it may seem to whoever has that information. It may be very significant to us. That aside, we still have very stringent requirements to actually be able to bring charges and to have a successful prosecution and conviction. Yes, we have identified, and I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, but we've identified the majority of the people that were there armed with what appears to be handguns. And this is an ongoing investigation. There are many efforts that are currently underway that we're not going to get into. But, you know, we have identified everybody that was in the pictures that we had sent out.
Then why does Mr. Johnson?
Again, it's very, and I don't want to get into the weeds, but it's very difficult. With Mr. Johnson, we can prove that he was armed with a operable working handgun, and we can prove where he was when he actually fired that handgun. We've uncovered evidence in the investigation, which gets us over that very high threshold of being able to bring charges, and we're confident in getting a successful conviction on him. So without getting into the weeds, you know, we were able to put all the puzzle pieces together on the case against Mr. Johnson at this point.
In regards to the sheer volume of evidence as well to working with crime stoppers on the video, I guess, is there any indication just generally, I know it's not specifics, but how many video pieces or just different elements you're working with?
You know, the investigators have poured over hundreds of hours worth of video. You know, there was some city cameras in the park at the time, and we have, you know, cell phone cameras and dash cam videos that were out there. So it's a matter of watching all the videos. It's a matter of putting the different angles together, and it's, you know, extremely time consuming and extremely complicated, but it's a critical part of the investigation. And, you know, the guys and girls have been spending a lot of time doing that. And, you know, the fruits of that at this point is we have a case against Mr. Johnson, and that's why we're actively asking the public to help us in finding him. It was between 40 and 50. I believe we recovered, I think, 30 shell casings, and, you know, analyzing the shot spotter, we believe somewhere between 40 and 50 total gunshots were fired. I can tell you conclusively that there was at least 9 different guns, 9 different people that were shooting.
Do you think it was with anybody else that day?
Or Mr. Johnson? You know, that's tough to tell. I don't think that he was there by himself. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that at this point. All right. Thank you.